Developing the confidence to thrive. Hey, my dear, I am leadership development coach Kathy Archer. Thank you for joining me today on either the live call or on the replay following, because I know you're a busy lady and sometimes you don't find the time to join me live, but I am so grateful you find the time to watch the replay later. Because here's the thing. Most of us women are just running around frantically, trying to do as much as we can, get through all those to-do lists, respond to everybody else's needs, get the kids out to the extracurricular activities, still find time to hit the gym, and yet we're scrambling, falling apart half the time, and spending lots of our lives in survival mode. I give you both the inner and outer tools to move that around so you can move from surviving to thriving in both leadership and life. If I didn't introduce myself, I am leadership development coach and author of the best-selling book, Mastering Confidence. I grabbed this earlier and I kind of chuckled that it's got my name on it. I feel like one of those kids in school, but I want to make sure that this copy, because it's got all my notes, doesn't go missing when I'm doing work with people. While you are going into the chat box and saying hello and letting me know where you're calling from, even if you're following on the replay, go ahead and do that. I'm going to share this into my Confident Women Leaders group. Write a post. I think that's what it is. Change to group. Confident Women Leaders group. And post. So my Confident Women Leaders group is a group of women who are also struggling like you to figure out how to do this leadership stuff. And I'm just going to shut off my Wi-Fi off my phone, and then I'm coming right back to you and paying full attention to you. Okay, good. So Confident Women Leaders Group is a group of women who are in leadership positions and struggling too, just like you and me, struggling to figure out, how do we do this? How do we lead well? How do we thrive in our lives, not fall apart? How do we be busy and balanced at the same time? And in a community where we can support each other. So if that's something you're interested in, at the end of this call, I'm going to put a link, a whole bunch of links in the sidebar for you to click on, and you can ask to join the Confident Women Leaders group. I would love to have you involved if you're not already one of those special ladies that's in the group. Today we are talking about the confidence to thrive. I've been talking over the last few weeks about this whole surviving to thriving continuum, this whole place where we fall in the spectrum and we move along it depending on what's happening and where we are at and what's going on in our days. But basically, surviving is the place where you're barely hanging on. Surviving is the place where you are terrified you're going to drop a ball, where you're going to miss something, you're going to mess up. Your health is probably failing, your relationships are probably failing, you're probably not enjoying your job very much, you may despise your boss, you may hate the people you work with. I know it paints a gloomy picture, but let me tell you, some of you are there right now. I know that. I was there. And it wasn't pretty and it wasn't fun and I didn't enjoy it, and I know you don't either. That's that surviving place. Thriving is the opposite end of the spectrum. Thriving is where you love your job, where you're energized and you want to be there and you want to go there. And not a lot of people spend time there. I think the stats show us like about 16% of people in the workplace, maybe even 13%, are actually in that place where they're really engaged in their work, where they're really connected, where they're showing up and feeling like they're doing purposeful work, meaningful work, that their skills are being used, that they are making a difference in the world. 13%, not a lot of people. If you want to be one of those ones, what I talked about last week was the need to get gritty to move there. We move from surviving to kind of tolerating and settling to thriving and engaged and actively involved in your job and loving your job. And in order to move across that spectrum and spend more time at that thriving, I keep getting them mixed up today, at that thriving state, you got to get gritty. Grittiness is that determination to stick at something that matters to you long term. So you've got to connect to your why. Why is it so important for you to move, shift, lean more towards that thriving place? Why is that important for you? For me, it comes back to my health and my family, and the bigger picture of who I am and what I'm doing in this world. I need to be healthy to do this work. I need to be my best self physically so that mentally I'm in the game. I know that if I'm going to be thriving in my work, I know that I'm making a difference in a bigger community. I hope that I'm making a difference for you. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning, and that's what keeps me deeply connected to my work long term. If you're in one of the nonprofits across the country, if you're in one of those organizations where you're in it not for the paycheck, but you're in it because you love the work, then you want to make a difference. You want to do some incredible work. That's not always easy. So that grit is what keeps you going long term, and it keeps you getting back up every time you get knocked down. Because let's be honest, there's no way life is ever just going to be a breeze and simple and easy. In fact, it shouldn't be. It's when we're in those toughest challenges, when we are faced with those biggest things, that grow us and develop our skills. And so we need to be able to face those challenges head on. We need to be able to, maybe I put in my email today that I sent out to you all, maybe sometimes we need to crawl back into bed, pull the covers up, and have a good cry. Absolutely, we need to do those kind of things some days. Go have a nice warm bath, go for a walk and scream, whatever it is you need to do sometimes. But then you have to get back in the game. You can't let that become your way of life and get sucked back into that apathetic mode where, I don't care, or constantly bitchy, or depressed, or full of anxiety. If you let yourself get drawn into that, it's that cesspool that you don't want to be in. And so if you want to move to that thriving place, you got to get gritty. So that's what last week's was all about. What I want to move in today is this confidence to do that. How do you develop that level of confidence to stick with it long term, to move towards that thriving place? There's two things that you need to know. First, you have to know that you can do it, and that's around the competency, the skills. Second, you got to believe that you can do it, and that's that mindset piece. And so those are the two things that you have to take, and you have to go, can I do this? Can I thrive? Do I have the skills, the abilities, the stuff I need to do to thrive? And do I believe it? Do I believe in myself that I can do it? Do I believe in sort of my abilities and that I can apply those skills in this situation? So there are 3 C's to confidence. The first one is competence. In order to feel confident, you need to be competent. So if you're going to enter one of those, cooking contests where you're required to, quickly in front of a TV audience, make some fancy dinner, you've got to have the skills necessary to do that. You have to know how to cook. Trust me, that would not be me. If I walked into that situation, I would feel anything but confident because I'm not competent to do it in many areas. I cook for my family, do just fine, but those fancy meals, not my stuff. That also is a mindset piece. I could go there if I chose to go there, but it would require me to learn some new skills. That's competence. So in order to feel confident, you have to be competent. First C. Second C is courage. If you want to feel confident, you got to have the courage to try and do some of those things, even though it might feel awkward, weird, and scary. So if I decided I was going to develop the skills to enter a cooking contest, I would still have to have the courage to sign up for the class, to do some trial, recipes, put them in front of my family, and have the courage to maybe get some, ew, Mom, that's awful. Or take them to my friends and say, try this. What do you think? What else do I need to do? How does it look? How does it taste? That requires courage. So first C, competence. Second C, courage. Third C is confidence. Confidence comes after you've increased your competence and you've been courageous to try those things. That's when you find the courage. So back this all up to the thriving, surviving continuum. If you want to have the confidence to move from surviving to thriving, if you want to have the confidence to thrive, what areas of competence do you need to grow? I know, strange question, right? You know, I think that we think this should magically happen. I think we believe sometimes that we're just screwed up, our organization is screwed up, the field is screwed up, it's the world, and we often put the blame out there. We need to take it back and we need to go, okay, what if I could spend more of my time in thriving mode? What if I could move myself closer to that end of the spectrum? What skills would I have to learn or develop to do that? I've broken it down to 3 areas. There are tons of areas, but for example, I've broken it down to 3: body, mind, and soul. So if you're going to thrive more, what skills would you have to learn about your body? What things would you have to get better at? Let's break that into 2: eating and moving. You already know the eating stuff, right? But what do you have to do to eat better so that your body is able to withstand the stress you're under, respond the way you want it to do? I mean, if you're eating unhealthily, you're probably lethargic, you're probably overweight, and you're struggling with energy, all that kind of stuff. For me, when I went back many, many years ago and lost a significant amount of weight, I had to learn how to pack lunches. I had to learn how to, figure out getting 4 kids out the door in the morning, off to the babysitters, getting to the office on time, and still find time to make a packed lunch, find a way to pack it so that I could travel. I was often on the road traveling, so I had to, have a little cooler pack and all of these little things. I had to figure out what foods I could eat quickly without a microwave, perhaps, if I was on the road, some days with a microwave. My kids hated it when they were on dishes night because I had all these little containers, tons of little containers. They would roll their eyes when Mom opened her lunchbox. So I had to figure out how to do that, right? That's a skill. I know some of you who do the salad in a jar. You got to go on Pinterest and figure the recipe out, right? Those are skills you need to learn. So that's the body one, or the food one, right? Figuring out what and how you need to eat. The next one is movement. If we're going to be moving from surviving to thriving, you got to move your body. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The whole 10,000 step thing is one thing to think about. The ability to, within your day, move more. Sometimes that's a skill you need to learn. You might, in the evening, maybe you're taking a dance class and you got to learn the dance steps. I remember taking belly dancing once, feeling like I was, fumbling all over myself because I didn't know the steps. That's a skill you need to learn. Maybe you want to learn to do Tai Chi or yoga, or you've never been to the gym and it feels awkward and weird and you've got to learn the rules of the gym and when to wipe down the equipment and when you're allowed to move from one thing to the next. Those are skills you have to learn. Maybe you've got a video you watch at home and you do a home workout. So you got to learn how to fit that into your day and tell the people around you, the living room is mine for the next half hour, or the rec room is mine, whatever. Those are skills. So that's body. Mind. Gotta look at my notes, make sure I'm on track here. First one is positive thinking. I think, again, we get in this mode where we believe if we become busy, which, let's be honest, ladies, leadership is busy. I don't think there's ever a time that it's not busy. But we sort of get in this mode when things get a little bit crazy, we become a little bit more frantic. The immediate association we have is busyness equals stress equals I just have to get through it. And you got to change that mindset to I can be busy and balanced, right? That's that positive thinking where I can figure this out. I can get it. I can manage this. And in fact, I can do more than manage. I can move things forward. A lot of my Mastering Confidence book, turn it around for you. A lot of my Mastering Confidence book is really about shifting those mindsets and starting to believe in yourself and in your leadership. And so if you're going to move to that thriving place, you got to believe in yourself. You got to change those positive thinking. The second thing about your mind that you have to do, I think, is a skill, and it really is a skill that you have to develop, is willpower or self-discipline. So I know for me, it takes an incredible amount of willpower not to eat the food in the house that I shouldn't be eating. It also takes an incredible amount of willpower to sit at my desk and work on something and not check email or Facebook. It takes a considerable amount of willpower for me to set a boundary with people, not respond when people want me to shift my schedule. I'm trying to think of an example that's not going to call somebody out, because I just had a couple incidences in the last couple days with clients and family and stuff where I had to set some boundaries. It's not always easy. That takes that discipline and that willpower, that self-discipline inside of you. And so that's a skill you have to learn. For me, I learned a lot of that through meditation. I learned a lot of that through reading and understanding how the brain responds to impulses and urges and things like that. Learning about grit and self-discipline, and the courage to say no. All of those things are skills. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit here today, but I'm on track. So the skills we're learning: body, mind, and soul. So body, eating healthy, movement, mind, positive thinking, willpower. Third one is soul. If you're going to develop skills, develop the competence to have the confidence to thrive, you've got to connect to your soul and your spirit. For many of us, that starts with a gratitude journal. It's not the only way to do this, but it's an idea that you might want to consider. Gratitude about what you have or what's existing. And if you want to if you've been doing gratitude for a while and you want to step it up a notch, gratitude for the difficult things in your life and how they're growing you. That takes you to that next step. Things like writing down every day, I'm grateful for that person that challenged me yesterday, because it connected me to what's really important to me. I'm grateful for, making that mistake because I learned a valuable lesson, right? That's the way to take gratitude to the next step. Then the other thing about connecting to your soul is shifting from a focus of what you don't want to what it is you do want. We spend a lot of time pushing away. I don't want that person. I wish they'd quit. I wish they'd go someplace else. I'm tired of feeling exhausted. I am done with, that organization because they're just pissing me off. We spend a lot of time pushing away. What I want you to do is look at what you want and have it pull you forward. What is it that you want to create? I want to feel more energized. I want to feel more connected. I want to feel like the organizations that I'm involved with are making a difference. Do you see that soul kind of shift where the first is almost soul sucking? It's sucking the life out of you. The second is a shift to inspiring you and lifting you up. So that's that competency, body, mind, and soul. Again, there are a ton of other competencies, but what I want you to think about is what are the competencies I need to move to that thriving place. So there's 2 guide sheets that I have for you today. The first one, and I'm going back to the beginning of when I started these guide sheets. I didn't make a new one because I think these 2 are really, really valuable. The first one is guide sheet number 2, and you can get these at silverrivercoaching.com/guides. Guide sheet number 2 is your competence plan. And so what you're going to do is you're going to start to look at, where do I need to be more competent? And so you're starting to look at, where do I struggle as a leader? Where do I struggle with this survival mode? And then, what are the skills I need? So you start to create that plan around that. The second one is guide sheet number 3, which is called your confidence plan. And again, you're looking at what areas are you increasing your skills? What's the knowledge, skills, or abilities you need? And then how are you going to practice being courageous to do that? So those 2 guide sheets are going to give you that ability to have the confidence to thrive. If you're going to move from survival mode to thriving, it's going to take time, lots of effort, and you've got to be really deeply connected to why it is you want to do that. That's that grittiness. And then you need to develop the confidence to get there. Confidence comes after you have the competence and the courage, then confidence follows. So if you want to move from surviving to thriving in both your leadership and life, ladies, this isn't just about, the work you do during sort of the 9-to-5 day. This is your whole life. And if you want to move from surviving to thriving, then you've got to start developing skills that are going to help you get there. Wishing, praying, begging isn't going to make the difference. You, my dear, have to act. You have to get up every morning and say, what am I going to do today? What's changes for me? What are the things I need to learn how to do so that I can move from that place where I'm barely hanging on, where I feel like I'm constantly about to unravel, to feeling engaged and connected and thriving in my work. Go back and get the guide sheet, silverrivercoaching.com/guides. If you are wanting to be connected to a community where we're going to help you do this as well, join the Confident Women Leaders community. If you're looking for extra resources, grab my book, Mastering Confidence. I'll put the link on the side as well. These are all things that can really help you to develop the skills that you need so that you can have the courage to step in and play around with this and do the work to get to confident leadership. If that's something you're interested in, please make sure you click the links after you finish watching this. Pick the one that best fits for you. My guess is you'll start with the guide sheets and do the work. Commit to spending time to move from surviving to thriving, because, my dear, that's what's going to make you enjoy your leadership more. That's what's going to make you enjoy your life more, is when you move into that thriving mode, when you have the confidence to move there. Thanks for watching. If this has been helpful, please hit share, and I will see you next week, my dear.